Dear facilitators, I greet all of you. I am making this video to support your facilitation. You need to go through, listening to the structure with which the presentation is done, so that I can help you in your presentation. When you start your facilitation, this is the first slide that will come. Then you move to the next slide. On this slide, you have to welcome the participants and also introduce yourself as Mr. So and so, Madam So and so, working as this schedule in this particular office. For the sake of time, I wouldn't be able to allow all of you to introduce yourself. So we continue. When we get to the interaction sector, you can introduce yourself anytime you want to contribute to the discussion. Once again, you are welcome. On this slide, you request that one of them, the participant, should read the slides as I list them. After reading the slides, you now come in and show appreciation to the person for dedicating themselves to lead in the reading. Take your time and pick questions from each paragraph that will stimulate discussion. One of the questions that you can ask is, what is the source of this information? Which agency reported this information to the source? Then 3, you can also ask participants what the story is about. Another question you can ask is that the participants should take us through some of the issues raised in the reading. And as they raise the issues, you try to ask questions for them to explain what the issues are. If it's talking about phishing, you pull further for them to tell what it is about. Then you also ask the period that this case was reported, whether it's a very old story or it's a current story. So here you can engage the participants to bring out the issues one after the other, the issues that have been reported, and what the issues are, and not just mere mentioning of the issue as was reported. If it is talking about cyberbullying, you ask them to explain what we mean by cyberbullying. If it is talking about online harassment, you ask them to explain what is meant by online harassment. Then you also ask them whether somebody has experienced that before. So here you can spend a lot of time here just for them to understand the discussion. Then you go to the next slide. This slide brings about follow-up questions regarding to the passage we just read. So the first question you ask them is to share with us what they have learned from the publication. You pause, solicit views from the participants, allow them to talk one after the other. After about 7 people have spoken, you go to the next question. Ask them what would be the suitable title for the publication. You realize that no matter how it is, somebody may come up with word like cybersecurity or cybersecurity issues around that. Then you ask them, how do they think this story is a concern to teachers? It's about cybersecurity, so why should it concern teachers? Is it a case that teachers should be worried about? And if so, why? If not, why? The idea of asking the third question is that everybody's a victim when it comes to cybersecurity. And realize that teachers can have their data published unknowingly, or they can have their data stolen by a party. They can mistakenly share information to the general public before they realize it's gone. Somebody can take their data, payslip, and others secret information and use it in a way that will cause harm or that will disadvantage the teacher. So let them talk about practical issues here. In the next slide here, there was cybersecurity essentials for pre-tertiary teachers in Ghana. Because we have agreed that it's a concern to teachers, we are now going to introduce the topic that in this training, our focus is on cybersecurity. So we're going to learn a lot about cybersecurity so that we can protect ourselves and our students on the cyber environment. You come back again to ask them whether they have ever experienced cybersecurity threats or cybersecurity incidents. And if somebody says, yes, I have, you probe the person to share his or her experience with the participants, what the issue was, what brought about the issues, and how those issues were dealt with, the impact on the person sharing the experience. Let the person share. You can get about 4 to 5 people to share the experience. Mind you, this session or this training is interactive training. We are not rushing to go anywhere. That's why we have given it 3 hours. We need to change the behavior through this training. So it's about you reading every slide and coming out with a potential question that you ask. These are the objectives of the training. We have re-strategized as I am participating in this training. I will end up getting understanding of the importance of cybersecurity. After this training, I'll be able to demonstrate awareness and understanding of the type of cyber threats, their impact, and how to identify and report those threats. I will be able to apply the competencies acquired from the training in my personal and professional lives. I will be able to comply with organizational and cybersecurity policies as far as procedures. And finally, it will help me to stay safe on online or cyber environment and maintain my digital well-being. So you let them know or relate the objectives of the training to themselves. Here you are asking them the meaning of cybersecurity. Call for views, let them talk. But you prompt them that cybersecurity is coming from two words. The first one is cyber, and then the other one is security. So what do you mean by cybersecurity? Let them share their experiences. There's a video on this slide. After sharing their experience, you can even play the video. You have to play the video for them to listen. That is after they have spoken a lot about what they mean by cybersecurity. And after the video, you also see that this is what I'm also supporting, or I'm also using to complement what you have already said. Cybersecurity is about practices, technologies, and procedures that have been designed to protect digital information, to protect our network systems from unauthorized access or from unauthorized use, from unauthorized disclosure, from disruption, and from somebody getting access and modify it. Or it helps us to protect our data from being destroyed by a party. So cybersecurity is all about putting security measures in place within the cyber environment so that you feel secure. Said video you can play. You play the video after the definition of the cybersecurity. You can still discuss the video further. Then you come here. This is activity 1, cyber threats. So here you are engaging them within 10 minutes to discuss in small groups 3 common cybersecurity threats that they themselves might have faced before or are familiar with or might have heard about. So they will discuss in groups. After 10 minutes, you call randomly for individuals to share some of the threats that they had with a larger group. So the types of threats continue. This is where you can also tell them that you are going to show some of the cybersecurity threats, and you call them to pick some of the threats and talk about it. So if I mention your name or if I point you, you look at the threats that have been published or projected and talk about any one of them. So you bring it. We have malware, phishing, ransomware, social engineering, cyberbullying, and online harassment. These are a few of them. That's not all. You can call one person to even read those that have been projected so that everybody will follow it. Once that is done, you now call specific persons to tell what they know about these types of the cyber threats. Having gotten enough information here, you can now move on. This is a case study, and the case study is about phishing attack. Remember, they might have met phishing in the previous slides. So here you ask one person to read a scenario on the screen. When they are done, or when the person is done with the reading, Just ask them to discuss in their small group the issues that they have identified from the scenario. After which you ask them to share anything, any funny thing, any threat, any reaction that they have given out or demonstrated if they were the teacher who received this email. You share. When that is done, you now ask specific question. What type of cyber threat is this? Allow them to express their view, even though it's written at the top there that it is phishing attack. It will be difficult for some of them to even know. Yeah, because their mind may be somewhere. And that's the beauty of the training. Then you ask, how can teachers protect themselves from such attack? You allow them to express their views. If you also have additional information, you will give. And the last question, what are the consequences of falling victim to this type of threat? Let them talk, let them express their views. About 3 to 6 people, then you move on to the next slide, which is about the importance of cybersecurity in teaching and learning. So here you can ask them, how does cybersecurity relate to teaching and learning? Welcome their views. Let them talk. Because it's interactive session. That is why it's 3 hours. Don't finish before time. Make sure you work within the time. Don't rush them through. It's interactive session so that they can correct their behavior as the discussion is going on. They will identify the issues they have regarding cybersecurity, and they will get a clue as to how to protect themselves within the cyber environment. So here we are asking, why must we be concerned as teachers about cybersecurity? How does it matter as far as teaching and learning is concerned? Having expressed their views, you now come in. It helps teachers to protect their personal data and also protect that of their learners. It helps teachers to maintain their professional integrity. If you know that when you put this kind of information in the social media, if you leave your laptop there without protecting it, if you leave your phone there without any security measures, somebody can pick information from it. If somebody gets your payslip, they can use it to do so many things against you. So the knowledge in cybersecurity will also help us as teachers to play safe when we are online environment or when we are using digital systems. Protecting student data and staying safe online. This is a case study. You have to call one of them to read the case. When the person is done, you call another person to also read. So after one woman and one man have finished reading, you can now call a third person to tell us what the story is about, or what he or she has learned from the story or gathered from the story. Then you can ask 3 or 4 other persons to also tell if they have contrary view or it's the same thing, or if they want to add something. Once that is done, you move on to the next slide, which are questions that have been couched from the case study. So the first question, what data protection issues are raised in the case study? Let them discuss. Let them bring their views. After 5 to 10 people have spoken, you go on. How could Mrs. Amponsa have ensured that the spreadsheet was protected from an unauthorized access? As I said earlier, let some of them express their view. Yeah, there may be banter here, some argument here. That's a purposeful argument. Then the next question, what are the potential consequences of this breach of confidentiality? What are the consequences associated with this kind of breach? Let them express views. Then the fourth question, what steps should the school take to prevent similar incidents in the near future? Again, you allow the teachers to talk. So what is being here is that you need to dive deep and get more information on phishing, the consequence of phishing, how phishing can be protected, and when you fall victim, what are some measures that you can put in place to redeem yourself? You need to read around this so that you can also contribute as a facilitator when they are bringing their views. The next slide is group activity, protecting student data and staying safe online. So it's an activity that follows the passage. They are to discuss in groups and come up with strategies for protecting student data and staying safe online. We'll give them 15 minutes. When they are done with their discussion, make sure you call 2 persons at least from each group that you have, so that everybody can be involved in the discussion. After this slide, we move on to the next slide. This is interactive quiz. And what we have here is, what is the most common type of cyber threat faced by teachers, if there is? But they are going to discuss them. Then the next one, how can teachers protect students' data from cyber attack? Then the next question, what are the consequences of data breach? As a teacher, if you breach the data protection law, what will be the consequence? Or if you mishandle data, what are some of the likelihood issues that will come? Let them discuss. And after discussions among them in their small groups, you can even ask them to move from their group to another group and share experiences with them, find out from them what they have also learned. Once that is done, you now call them to order and call some names to share what they gather from their group and from the other groups. We move on to the next case study. It's about best practices. And it also comes with questions. When they finish with the case study, you ask the questions. Let them work in small groups. They discuss. Then you give the opportunity to also share what they discussed over there. Come here, this is the tale of Mr. Kwesi, a cautionary on cyber threats, a story written by Jedediah Watson. As we always do, you call one person to read, you call another person to also read, about 3 people. When they are done reading, you pause. Now you call names for them to tell us what the story is about. And then what issues in the story that relates the story to cybersecurity issues. And there are some key terminologies in the story that you can ask participants to also tell what they mean. One that I've seen here is I've seen using same password for all online accounts. That is one of them. And I've also seen two-factor authentication. So these key terms, let them come out the key terminologies. There's also cyber criminals. And as they mention the key terminologies, you now put it back to them to explain what those terminologies are. But as I said, you must also have responses to all these questions that you are asking. Yeah. So from here, after spending about 10 minutes or 8 to 10 minutes here, you now move to the related questions. So discussion on lessons learned. You call them one after the other, then you ask what they have learned from the story. You tap and continue. What measures can teachers take to protect themselves from phishing scam, and how can they verify the authenticity of emails and websites? So it means that you must have answers to these questions, and the answers are available online. You don't challenge them, don't say they are wrong. You listen to them. You call others to also come in. They express their views. Then as you are getting the answer, you can conclude on the answer or the response, the appropriate response. Then move on to the next question. How can teachers ensure the security of their online accounts? And what are the benefits of using two-factor authentication? You discuss and conclude. Then you go to the third one. What are some best practices for teachers to follow when sharing sensitive information online? And how can they identify credible websites? As I said, you discuss with the teachers, call some names, let them come in to share their views. So here, even these three questions, if we are using 3 minutes to discuss each question, we have about 9 minutes here. So take your time, don't rush. Let them come in with their views, because as they are talking, they would demonstrate their ignorance in some of the issues, and they also learn from their mistakes as they speak out. The next question, how can teachers safeguard their personal data and prevent unauthorized access to their digital accounts? It could be on their laptop without connecting to internet. Sometimes somebody will just put pen drive in your machine, and you attempt to look somewhere or to step out and download information from your machine. Somebody can screenshot certain information from your laptop, sensitive information, of course. So how can you protect yourself from the digital environment? Let them discuss with examples. Then you move on to the next question. What role can schools and educational institutions play in promoting cybersecurity awareness among teachers? And what support system can be put in place to help teachers who fall victims to this? So this particular question, the number 5, is in two folds. Ask the first part, discuss, get more opinions before you go to the next part. Now we are summarizing the lesson. So here you ask them to tell what they have learned. Call more people to tell. Let them share their experiences. what they are going home with, what they didn't know but have discovered. Let them share. So, what did you learn in this session? Let them share. What are you going to do differently from now? So you are measuring the behavior change. Let more people talk. Remember, you are doing this within 3 hours. Now, yours coming cybersecurity is an essential aspect of teaching and learning in the digital age. We must all try as much as possible to go by the processes that can help us to protect ourselves. You give them opportunity to respond to the post-call survey. When you are done, you thank them and ask them to ask any question they want to ask, but it should be in relation to the content that we have discussed. After interacting for some time, you now tell them that the phase 1 of the National CPD, or the second National CPD program, which was focusing on cybersecurity, has come to an end. The phase 2 will focus on data protection. So they should go and support the training on cybersecurity. They should go to their schools, take their time. It's not about reading and explaining. Engage the teachers. Let them talk more so that they can learn from that. Then you thank them and end the session. Thank you very much for listening to me. I am Dr. Lauren Sapo, your facilitator for this session. God bless us all. Bye-bye.